You can see the Majesty Building, aka the I-4 eyesore, and it's so detailed down to the individual stores and businesses. One of my coworkers actually flew and landed in the Refresh parking lot.
Really?
Yep, and I found my house too, and it's really impressive software. The frame rates are also very smooth, which is surprising. But of course, you still want to have very high quality hardware to be able to run at its best with that maximum appeal. But when the software came out, everybody started buying up that hardware. I mean, and now you go in all the big box stores, all the online retailers, and you can't find it anywhere. And I mean, remember last week I was saying, hey, people are expected to buy about $3 billion worth of this stuff.
Yeah.
And now, of course, now you just can't really find it anywhere. So a lot of people are looking to potentially shell out big dollars just to get this stuff right now. But indeed, there is another software that is coming out, and it's called Airplane Mode. And it's another new flight simulation software, but it's not one where you're actually flying the plane. It's actually one where you are essentially a passenger in an economy class seat. So, and then I think there's going to be two different flight modes. There's going to be like a 2-hour flight and a 6-hour flight. And so basically you're just manipulating the cabin of the plane, just doing everything you otherwise would do, looking out the window like a passenger.
Screaming babies on one of them, I think, too, just like when you're on the plane.
Yep. So essentially, if you haven't really been traveling due to the whole COVID situation, now you can get by a software and enjoy the experience of traveling in an economy class cabin from the comfort of your own home.
That's funny, Andre. It is. If you have any questions, whether it's about a laptop, desktop, a purchase, an upgrade, now is the time to get the answers you're looking for. 407-422-1212. Operators are on duty, Andre. And you could just text it too if you want to give us the specs of what you're looking at or what you want to do. The text number is 23680. Andre is here for you every Sunday from 5 until 6 p.m. on News Radio WFLA Orlando. And the rest of the time he is working hard at Refresh Computers right down the street in Longwood, Florida. You are an aspiring young man. You make me happy. You know that, right?
Well, thank you, Melissa. And of course, it's always a pleasure to be here on your studio.
Oh, well. You know, I myself have had some issues here with some of the technology that we're using. And at your request, we made sure and got battery backups. We've got routers. We've got extenders. How in a normal household do you make sure that you get the best Wi-Fi that you possibly can?
That's a very good question, and of course, the capability of your internet speed it's a two-pronged factor. One, of course, the type of internet service that you have at your home. Of course, the main ones are going to be cable, DSL, and then, of course, there will be fiber, which is the newest generation technology, which is gradually being rolled out, predominantly first to commercial environments. So as it stands right now for the two traditional ones, cable is essentially going through your coaxial line, same as your television. Usually Comcast or Spectrum are the two main ones that service the general area here, and they tend to have a bit higher speed and a more durable reliability. Whereas where the DSL would be AT&T and CenturyLink and Earthlink and essentially carriers that go through your traditional phone lines, essentially compressing that connection through those legacy analog lines, and it's a bit slower than cable, but still a lot faster than the 56K dot modems of the day. That being said, CenturyLink actually did had a major service outage today, unfortunately.
Really?
And so a lot of people have been impacted by that this morning. I'm not sure if that's been resolved or not yet, but indeed, a lot of issues, of course, can potentially be on the infrastructure end or even on the service provider end. But, of course, you always want to do everything within your control to be able to maintain and keep your network operating as most efficiently as possible. And so when it comes to your home, having a good, strong router is of importance, and some carriers provide that for you already. But there are lots of different levels of routers you can get. You can get a cheap basic router, like if you have like a small apartment or a small home, or you can get a stronger router.
Yeah, I've seen them go up to $300-400.
Yeah, and then
they're huge. They push the modem even better than the modem with itself.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, there are ones, yeah, they're like gaming modems or game routers with their own processors designed to maximize that bandwidth throughput. But also, when it comes to range, like larger structures, you can either get a higher router, like spend about 100 or so, or if it's like a really big property or you just have thick walls or issues with coverage, there are also whole house kits on the market or office kits that essentially put like nodes all around the corners of your structure. And that way you can essentially blanket your home with adequate coverage. Of course, usually if for most applications, hardwire connections actually tend to be the most robust in terms of speed.
Oh, yeah.
However, they are a little bit more vulnerable in the event of a surge going through that utility line.
How would you protect yourself from that surge?
Well, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. The best way, of course, would probably I would suggest would be using a battery backup, because the battery backup not only provides a limited supply power to the computer to keep it running, but it's also a more durable, heftier device that will provide that surge protection benefit. Whereas with say a traditional surge protector, those are only like sacrificial lamb type of devices. They're only designed to take 1 or 2 hits tops, if that. And the thing is, many times you don't even know that they might no longer be working. So they might continue providing power, but they might not necessarily
Right, but
protect
it may have
you.
already taken a hit.
Yep. And of course, if you lose power with a surge protector, I mean, you lose power. So
Now, I
potential
also have
possible
a
losing
power
data.
conditioner here, which keeps everything kind of coming in at the same voltage, so it regulates, because a lot of surges come off of that.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're in an area with more legacy grid technology, such as this remote site here that we're currently working out of right now, that indeed older grid technology is more vulnerable to fluctuations, which could potentially damage a device, which is also where you have that appropriately protected hardware for sure, especially when you have unique special grade equipment like this, like the radio equipment and transmitters that we have over here. Then indeed you want to make sure to do everything you can to reasonably protect that infrastructure, because it's not like you can just go to Walmart and pick up another one of those, right?
Right, exactly. You are listening to Andre Klass, and this is Tech Talk, presented by Refresh Computers. You got 20 seconds. Go ahead. Tell us what you want to say.
So the Refresh Computer Superstore is located again 820 East State Road 434 in Longwood, zip code 32750. And of course, we'll be back with more Tech Talk after these important messages right here on News Radio WFLA Orlando.
Good job.
Thank
We're
you.
still live on the Facebook. So, hi guys. Thanks to you all who are checking us out. Andre wanted to get a taste of what it's like to do the live broadcast on Facebook as well. And he said, "Wow, look at me. I'm kind of a handsome-looking guy." All right. So, but just because we're on my page and we're not on the radio at the moment, Andre is actually running for a seat on the Seminole County Commissioners Board. So you are in District 5, right? Is that right?
That's right, but even though it's districted, of course, they are at-large seats, so the whole county will potentially be voting in November, and it's just 2 short months away. And it still feels like yesterday, when it was like, 2 years ago that I originally filed to run this thing?
Yeah.
But I've had an absolute blast. It's been a life-changing experience, already making positive impacts for the community. And I'm just blown away by all the wonderful opportunities I've had. I mean, getting to take part in ribbon cuttings and dedicate a building, and
Really?
yeah, I mean, it's been an absolutely extraordinary experience. And I've been born and raised here in Seminole County, and I've learned so many new insights, and being able to be part of our nation's great political process, it's it's unbelievable.
It's learning, though. There's a lot of learning, a learning curve, especially now. If you are in Seminole County, doesn't matter what district you're in, you can vote for you. Is that the true?
That's right. And of course, my website on that is yournextcommissioner.com.
That's pretty clever. I can't believe that wasn't taken. So, yeah, if if you're interested in more information, check out Andre Klass for Seminole.com.
Well,
Andre, right? Or Andre for Seminole County. I don't.
Andre for Seminole or yournextcommissioner.com, or you could just type in andreklass.com too. Remember, it's class with a K.
There you go. Yeah, classy with a K. God, I think someone had her. Oh yeah, classy. I think someone said that they wanted to help promote you and classy. That's what it is.
Yeah, class act, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and speaking of that, how'd your fundraiser go last night? We got about a minute and a half here before we come back.
Oh, went pretty well. We had our guests evenly all distanced apart. I got to have a nice little unscripted speech about community-related issues and breaking these toxic divides affecting us with our partisan political system, focusing on putting the citizenry first and restoring that spirit of cooperation and unity. And of course, the restaurant owner, Ian, at Chianti's restaurant was very gracious in being able to host me and sponsoring dinner as an in-kind contribution for all of our guests. I mean, I was absolutely blown away by the success of this thing for sure. And of course, every dollar and every penny is going to be invested wisely into maximizing my exposure to the community. So of course, you can also donate on there at yournextcommissioner.com if you're interested in helping to support my organic outreach efforts. But I think we're getting back to the show now.
You got a minute yet? I'm watching. You're doing good though. You're just learning new stuff as we speak here. Because as we broadcast remotely from my studios, I'm still running the radio station that's in down like 10, 15 miles from us. So you look at the bottom one, you'll see there's 40 seconds left there.
Oh, cool.
Very good. But, yeah, I had a good time come by and meet some people yesterday at your fundraiser, and you had a great turnout considering it's Saturday afternoon and such. But I really, really enjoyed the whole thing, and you've got some really nice people supporting you.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the great thing. I have supporters from all ends of the political spectrum. There were Democrats there, Republicans there, independents, fellow libertarians. I mean, it was a great mix, and that it really shows that my support is from all over the spectrum.
Exactly.
Because everyone believes in quality of life issues.
All right, coming back to the show in 2 seconds here. Welcome back to Tech Talk, brought to you by Refresh Computers. Check out refreshcomputers.net. I'm Melissa Fox from Good Morning Orlando, helping out my host, Andre Klass. How you doing, Andre?
We're still having a lot of fun, that's for sure. And so, of course, right now we got some... do we have any text messages?
I do. Would you agree that a gaming computer has the best speed and power for video editing?
Yep, and I see that's sent with Echo. So you guys also have the ability to... You guys also have an integration with Amazon's Alexa system?
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. You see that... it's amazing where technology is leading us today.
Technology is ridiculous. If I had thought 20 years ago when I was just trying to figure out chat rooms and things like that it was going to get this good. I mean, you've never known anything but, right? You're what, a little under 30, is that right?
Yep, I'm 28 years old, been working full-time here in computers and customer service since I was 17. My first job was at a local simulation company called Elite Simulations out in Oviedo, and they were one of the pioneers in developing modern flight simulation technology, including FAA-certified equipment, which is featured in lots of prominent flight schools, the public education systems. It's a really cool place to be for sure, and they make everything from... small airplanes to helicopters and including the Seminole County Sheriff's Office for that matter. And then after working at Elite, I started working at Refresh Computers. I've been with the company now 8 years now, celebrating my 8-year work anniversary with Refresh this month. And of course, since then, it's one of those things where I've gradually been rising up the ranks and working hard to help implement these important technological integrations for homes, offices, schools, businesses. I mean,
wow.
You name it.
Wow.
And so technology is a really integral part of our everyday life these days. So to answer the question, indeed, when it comes to video editing and multimedia, indeed, gaming computers do offer pretty solid specifications that for professional workstation class computers like the Dell Precision, you might end up having to invest like a lot of money in with higher end Xeon processors and whatnot. But in gaming machines, the i7s, the i9s, the NVIDIA or AMD graphics cards, they not only are they made to be able to handle game, but they're really work well when it comes to many of these modern productivity applications, including at my own home. I have a gaming tower that I set up specifically for being able to work on graphic design, being able to work on some multimedia production. So indeed, gaming computers can potentially be really solid alternatives, if not the go-to choice when it comes to end users and multimedia and graphic and design.
Very good. Andre, for those who are just checking this out now, we've only been on News Radio WFLA for a few weeks here. Could you just give us a little bit of an overview of you?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, pretty much before I started my first job at Elite Simulations, I had actually gotten my certification to work on computers when I was attending Crimson Academy of Information Technology. It's Seminole County Public Schools featured technology high school, where they have a really strong magnet program that's centered on modern technology and helping to prepare young men and women for getting into a technological workforce. And I mean, of course, when I attended, and I think this policy is still true today, but I remember when I was attending that they still made us wear polo shirt, like official polo shirts and khaki pants, sort of like what Jake, we wear right now.
Jake from State Farm, and for exactly what you.
Yeah, I mean, literally. Well, you come to Refresh Computers, and most of the time you'll see me wearing a Refresh Computer shirt with khaki pants.
Well, it doesn't limit the wardrobe too much, Andre, and you look good in a polo shirt and khaki. So there you have it.
Well, of course, you'll probably even remember me even more when I'm out and about, and you see me with my gorgeous-looking suit and tie.
What? Yeah, driving around in that town car. Whoa.
Yeah, never giving up that town car for the world. So, I mean, I've been blessed that I was able to save up and buy my home when I was 19. I've owned the house for 9 years now.
Wow.
And, of course, being able to have my dream car. I mean, it's an '06 Lincoln Town Car. The thing's 15 years old, but that thing...
it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it drives like a dream. And you know, the Lincoln Town Car was one of the first full-size sedans to receive a 5-star crash safety rating from the NHTSA. So
that's pretty impressive too.
Yeah, but of course, what's more important though when it comes to doing everyday things than a durable automobile or a good house, of course, is having that appropriate technology. And I buy my own computers, of course, from Refresh Computers.
Sure.
And indeed, you'll find very friendly, highly skilled technicians like myself, always trying to put everything in more common sense English terms so that way you understand what's going on. You can feel comfortable and confident with your purchase. And we also copy documents, pictures, personal files for free when you buy a computer from Refresh. And if you didn't buy a computer from us, but let's say you have another computer, you're having problems with it, we do free diagnostics 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. And if you go to a big box store right now, like say, Best Buy or Office Max, or when you go in there, you have a problem, okay, it's going to be $99 just to put it up on the bench to look at. Only they don't actually look at it in the store. They have to send it off to a repair depot, and who knows where it lands.
They don't even do the repairs there, yeah.
But we have our own in-house service department. We always start with offering that free 10 to 20-minute diagnostic. Try to do our best to get to the bottom of what's going on and determine, is it going to be cost effective to fix, and if so, we check it on our service department. 3 to 5 business day turnaround time, and then you're golden.
Wow.
Or of course, if it's not worth fixing, we'll just tell you straight up. Or if we tell you what's going on, you don't want to do it right now, no problem. These diagnostics are no strings attached, so you can take your time to think about it, come back another time, pick another machine, or just say thank you very much and go on your way. I mean, we don't like to tie our customers down or do anything that would potentially make a customer uncomfortable. And even when the store gets busy, and admittingly, we do get busy a lot.
It does get busy.
Because, I mean, there's always such high demand for us because, I mean, we're the best around. We've been serving the Greater Orlando region since 2001.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we always make sure to provide that friendly, courteous level of service that we've been known to provide for every single customer. And someone left us a Google review and they ended up, of all things, it was such a busy day that the poor fellow ended up waiting a whole hour. But then afterwards, they were really impressed by our service and
So it
the
was
product.
worth the wait.
So it was definitely worth the wait for them. I mean, heavens to Betsy, I've never seen, I mean, even on some of our busiest days, I've never seen anybody end up having to wait that long. But I mean, we always make sure to take good care of everybody, no matter what. And of course, even though they were disappointed in having to wait that long, that they were still so satisfied with
They left a
everything.
good review. That's great.
Yeah, for sure. And so we always appreciate that, because in the end, our biggest strength at Refresh Computers has really not necessarily been from our advertising as much as we've been on News 13 and on the station a lot, but it's really word of mouth and local customers being able to share their positive experiences from our store to show, and it really helps highlight the fact that we're not just a computer store, we're your neighborhood computer store. Sort of like you find that mechanic you like so much and then you just only trust that one mechanic.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like that.
That seems good. Real quick question before we take a hot break here. We got to get to the news and traffic and weather together. But first, how do you name an RPG character?
How I name a game
character?
character?
What do you think? What do you take into consideration when you name your character?
When I name my character, You know, I've never been asked that question because I've never had really played those games all too much.
No.
I haven't really done that all too much because, I mean, it's either work or more work. And, I mean, pretty much, and of course, aviation simulation stuff, and pretty much and then of course you had my church ministry, and then that I attend, and then that takes up all my time. So I honestly haven't really had time to play those type of games, to be honest for you.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm gonna use mine. It's Melissa Fox, gamer girl.
There you go.
That's me. So take us to the break, sir.
You got it. So we'll have more Tech Talk Live right here on News Radio WFLA Orlando after these important messages. Stay with us.
And we're clear. Still on the Facebook and on YouTube and Periscope. We are hanging out here with Andre Klass, and at the moment, that's Klass with a K. He's actually running for a position on the Seminole County Commission. And that's a cool thing because he's got enough signatures that he just bypassed the primary entirely. He was like, yep, just going to go right on to the big November vote.
Well, that actually doesn't have anything to do with the signatures. The signatures are just to be able to be in the race.
Well, how did you get there? Because we're still kind of confused because you did it and Moira did it as well, Lynn Dichter.
Well, pretty much anyone who's running in a partisan race, that if there's only one person running under that particular affiliation, that one individual under that one party would then move on to the general election. In my particular race, there were actually two Democrats that filed, so the two Democrats actually had a primary themselves to determine who my Democratic opponent would be.
And who is going to be your opponent? I hope it's not that mudslinger.
Well, the good thing is I've talked to both of my opponents, and we've all pretty much settled down on the idea that this is going to be a clean, uplifting race. We're focusing just on the facts. And, of course, we're looking forward to some future debates. So my opponents are Mr. Pernell Bush and Mrs. Andrea Herr. And both very nice, friendly folks, for sure. And, of course, needless to say, as a born and raised Seminole County resident, and also one that is, of course, most relatable to the people, being an everyday middle-class worker bee like yourself, I think that my affinity for staying right on top of the issues and already making positive impact and doing my part for our Seminole County communities are what's going to earn me the trust and the votes that I'm going to get in November. And I'm going for the gold, and this is going to be a very big victory, and I'm very excited for it.
Nice. I think it is. I think you're going to do quite well. And as you always like to tell me, it's nothing scripted. You just speak off the top of your head and from your heart, right?
Always right. In fact, if you look at my computer screen right now, if you were to walk around and look at this, I mean, there's no notes here. Everything that we do on this show is unscripted. I mean, I might have to look up every fact for the computer stuff for unique topics. But indeed, last night when I was doing my fundraiser, when I was speaking at the Libertarian National Convention, and all of the other appearances I've had, no notes, no scripting. It's just me because I'm not trying to be another partisan politician. I'm
Well,
just
I like
trying to
it.
be that everyday born raised citizen candidate. And what I'm trying to also prove is that it doesn't take being involved in the establishment or being connected, that any ordinary citizen has what it takes to potentially rise up, make a difference for the community.
Yeah, there you go. See, and on with that, unscripted, just right off the top of his bean.
Yep.
I'm just saying. All right, what do I got here? PC hardware. Okay. That doesn't make any damn sense.
Yep. Have we gotten any calls yet?
I don't know. Let's yeah. Actually, I don't know that we did. Wait. No, let's go ahead and hit that in 30 seconds here, though. If you have any questions you want to check in, 407-422-1212, or you can write us on our chat feed.
Yep. Now, of course, any questions being asked on this show have to be
Yes, you
specific
do.
to computers, because this is the Refresh Computers Tech Talk show that we're on.
Yeah, not the politics stuff. Okay, I actually do have a question for you. We'll answer in like 10 seconds. Mary D's, okay? And yeah, I think it's a cell hack. Can you give us a little more information, Mary? Because I do know what you were talking about, but here we go, 5. You want to welcome us back?
You got it, Melissa. We're back here on the air on News Radio WFLA Orlando with more of Tech Talk Live, brought to you by Refresh Computers. Refresh Computers is Orlando's premier computer store, serving the greater Central Florida region since 2001. We are located at 820 East State Road 434 in Longwood, zip code 32750. Open Monday through Saturday 9 to 7, Sunday 11 to 5. And so, of course, we're here answering your tech questions live. I'm Andre Klass, and our studio's phone number is 407-422-1212. We got another 20 minutes to hang out together, and I'm at the ready to help with your technological questions, whether it's with your computer, network peripherals, or more. Myself and the team of Refresh Computers are at the ready to be of service for you.
Okay, I've got Mary. She's actually watching us on the Facebook Live feed that I'm promoting today for you, Andre. And she said her phone number was sent to about 1,000 people, and it's calling them 24 hours a day. It happened within like a burst of about 30 seconds. It just went, and a whole bunch of numbers just started dialing out.
Oh, my goodness. That's definitely, well, what could be happening is that maybe what happened is that the number might have got cached by a spam bot or a spoofer. Essentially, there are some really unscrupulous people that will call out to pretend to be people they're not, like the Microsoft or the Apple fake scammers or there's also variants with the IRS or other companies and they often will spoof phone numbers belonging to other people to hide who they are. Sometimes they even pretend to use Microsoft's number. Sometimes they'll use Apple's number. But the thing is, Microsoft won't call you. Apple won't call you. IRS, they're not supposed to call you, but I've heard that sometimes they actually do anyway, believe it or not.
Mary says when they answer the phone, and it dials 24 hours a day, when they do answer, it comes up blank, so they end up calling or texting her back. How can she, what can she do to get this to stop? Do you know?
The problem is that there's no real solution at all, unfortunately, other than to change the phone number, because when that information is put out there in the open or cached or being distributed under these false pretenses, then it's just like if somebody went and it's just like with spoof emails, how people are getting these spam emails all the time, that when they end up on that list, that the thing is the email box will receive that message or the phone line will receive that call, regardless of whether the person who owns that want it or not. And it's really troublesome that there are some really unscrupulous characters out there in technology, people that will hide behind the veil of anonymity, whether it's to attack someone or to harass someone. And I mean, I've experienced that firsthand too in the past, and I wish there was more that could be done for this particular situation. Depending on the nature of the threat or depending on the nature of the harassment, it's possibly worth pursuing an intervention with law enforcement.
She said she went to AT&T, that's the carrier, and
Mhm.
also the FBI, and they also said you just have to change your number. The problem is she's had that number for over 20 years.
Yeah, and and unfortunately the difficult part is that it's really people with that type of situation that have that
They
important
get
connection,
hurt the
that phone
most,
number,
yeah.
because it's one of those things that once it's sort of like when if you're driving and then suddenly Google Maps takes you off a cliff, or I mean,
Yeah.
and you didn't necessarily intend to go on that cliff, or you didn't even know you were going off that cliff, but or pretty much it's like once someone pushes you off that cliff, there's unless you have a magic parachute, then unfortunately there's nothing else that
So
could
Andre
really be
is
done.
saying you're going to have to change your number. Doesn't seem like there's going to be anything else that can be done about
Yeah,
that.
unless they decide to stop using that number, spoofing that number eventually. Who
Right.
knows what will happen.
Well, Mary D's, I hope everything works out, and let us know on that if anything does actually come of it. But unfortunately, it does look like you're just going to have to change the number. And wow, that kind of stinks. Now, this morning I woke up, Andre, and I had all these messages in my Facebook Messenger. Now, I know that was going kind of kooky for a minute, but it said, "Thank you for your recommendation." It was all these places, like 2:30 in the morning. I was sound asleep. I didn't recommend anybody.
Well, I know Facebook's review function has been weird sometimes. Like I've seen where, because I administer the Refresh Computers Facebook page and promoting our products and services on there and offering special deals to customers, and I've seen mysteriously where reviews that people that have posted to that page actually, that reviews back from 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, all of a sudden I'm mysteriously getting a notification now, as in like last week, for a review that was posted weeks ago. But also another thing too that you want to check on Facebook, if you go to the to your settings and go your activity log, check your activity to see if any comments or something was posted from your account, because that could also potentially be a sign that maybe that somebody else might have gotten into your account and posted something like in a community group, or maybe you might have made a post or recommendation to somebody or someplace in the past, and then that was first being seen and responded to now potentially. It's hard to
So
say for
weird.
sure.
I think it's just a fluke, honestly. Got a question here from Andrew. He says, I installed these M2 drives on a build I just finished. Mainly the reviews were based on Tom's Hardware and Amazon. NVMe drives at a great price, but after I ran the user benchmark and speci, I just am not sure that they're showing me the drives. It boots up fast, it runs okay, but are they NVMe?
Well, essentially M2, well, basically M2 and NVMe format drives are essentially stick style drives that would affix to a particular fixed spot on the motherboard. So essentially it's describing the physical style of architecture of the drive, whereas there's essentially two main drives, which are going to be with solid states, which are going to be the SATA ones, which are like a little box that plug in just like a traditional mechanical hard drive would to the SATA connections. And then the newer style M2 drives, the NVMe drives, would affix to a specific slot on the board. And of course, for those drives, they have to be the ones that match that particular socket, and different motherboards sometimes have different sockets or different connections. And then many new ones now, they're actually being pre-soldered on the board, like the all-new Apple iMacs, which are coming out this year if they haven't come out already. So indeed, usually those stick-style drives, they are supposed to offer really fast performance. I'm talking about depending on the drives that you'll see, upwards of 500, maybe even maybe even 1,000 megabytes a second. I mean, you can get some really high performance with some of these newer M2 drives, and of course, you have to be a little bit careful because there are also different grades of these drives. Like for example, Western Digital's green drives haven't really had the best performance record, or in terms of capability or reliability, whereas their blue drives or their black drives tend to work a lot better, for example. So you always want to make sure sticking with a good reputable brand, a good reputable series, but also, in general, trying to work through getting the most cost-effective investment for your dollar when it comes to your technology hardware. But one thing that I always say that you should never do, you don't want to skimp when it comes to your gaming hardware. Because the thing is that you could get all the highest end hardware, but if you get like a flaky power supply or a weird off-brand part, that could potentially if it goes bad, it could potentially ruin the whole thing.
Thank you, Andrew, for your question. This one is from Gary's friend of mine. He sent it to me ahead of time. He said, my laptop was damaged when I moved, and I've had to pull up my old Dell XPS 8300. In order to do what I need it to do, I need better graphics. So I got a Radeon RX 550 and put it in. It's always just had the onboard graphics. So I tried to put the card in, got no signal from the onboard or from the RX 550.
All right, that's a very good question there. And of course, I think we'll have to answer that after we get to some more of those important messages before we get into our last segment of the show.
That looks like it.
Yep, so of course, again, Refresh Computers is located at 820 East State Road 434 in Longwood, and we'll be back open tomorrow at 9 o'clock. But we'll have some more tech talk right after these important messages right here on News Radio WFLA Orlando.
Sorry, I didn't realize the time on that one. Sorry, Gare. We'll get your question, and don't worry. Oh, sorry, that gets away from you. You're doing a really good job, Andre.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I actually really enjoy working with you here. We got a lot of good questions that have come in so far, and yeah, that was weird. But my friend Mary, she said that all of a sudden her phone just literally blew through the contacts, and I don't know what she did. That was me. I sent you the picture.
Oh, nice.
We're taking pictures there, so because we're having fun. Why not, right? It's just good stuff all over the country. She said that went over thousands of people, and nobody answers or calls her back. It's just like a they text back, who's this? But there's no answer when she called, whatever.
Because the problem is that the other people on the other end are just baffled, and so they're just calling back who they believe to be the person calling, and it's really disgusting, the thing that some people do out there to try to get a buck or to try to hurt other people. It's absolutely beyond me, for sure. And the problem is, many of the times that these bad guys are doing that, they're usually overseas, and they usually do it in a way that they are not that they're in a jurisdiction that not only are they hard to find, but also hard to get at for the purposes of criminal prosecution.
Well, that's how they make it work, I suppose. Let me see what we got here. Do you do networks also?
We do network stuff at the store, yes. I know that there's certain elements that we can do, like setting up wireless networks and
the VPNs and things
and basic set. But of course, when it comes to like enterprise networking, like doing cable drops or the elaborate stuff, that's something that would have to go through a certified or licensed contractor for.
Okay. All right. We got a little under 2 minutes here. People yelling. She said people were calling her back and yelling at her, wait for them getting woke up and cussing her out on that phone thing. I know. That's ugly. Like I said, I woke up this morning and I had all these thank you for your recommendations stuff that blew up my phone, and I've never recommended anybody. It's not my, I don't have that kind of time.
So again, you gotta check those messages, check the activity log. You might want to consider changing your Facebook password, possibly.
Yeah, that could probably be it.
Yeah, because if somebody else has got in your account, then what you probably want to do, change the password, and then you can also go into the settings and select basically log out all the other sessions. So in case someone is in your account, it's very easy to potentially regain control. The difficult part is when others when they get in there, they try to change the recovery information so that you can't get back in,
you're locked out.
Knowing the fact that many of these big technology companies like Google and Yahoo and Facebook, they don't have like an actual customer service that handles this type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so really the only way is from there to restore access to an account, unfortunately, is get the legal department involved, of like get a lawyer and go to their legal department and say, hey, this is what's happening, this account's got compromised, and then maybe hope that maybe you might get an answer in 6 months. It's
She said she was asking about networking for business. You set up networks for business.
right.
That's
So
what
for
it was?
information about potential networking setup, so we can evaluate if this is a project that we can work on or not. That would be something that you would have to call the store for, either by calling 407-478-8200, or you can also email Longwood at refreshcomputers.net, and that email will go to the whole store staff.
Welcome back. It is Refresh Computers presents Tech Talk with Andre Klass. We're here every Sunday from 5 until 6 o'clock. We've got the phone lines open. We are here live in our studios. 407-422-1212. Again, 407-422-1212. Or you can check out the text. Just text us. That's easy too. 23680. And we're also broadcasting live right now on Facebook on my page because Andre wanted to get a taste of it. And it looks like some people have been helping out as well, asking about networks for businesses. And we were just answering my friend Gare's question. He said his laptop was damaged in a move, Andre. He had to pull out the old Dell XPS 8300 and needed better graphics, so he added the Radeon RX 550. It's always just had onboard graphics. Tried putting it in, no signal from the onboard or from the RX 550. When the new card is in, the fan kicks in. No signal at all from either, though. I take the card out, turn it back on, I have a signal again.
Alrighty, so I think the reason this is happening is because a lot of the newer generation video cards require newer generation hardware for compatibility and function. And so, for example, a lot of these newer PCI Express version 3 cards aren't able to work on motherboards that do not have UEFI support, which is the newer secure boot design that was integrated starting in the 3rd generation chipsets. And unfortunately, the XPS 8300 only has a 2nd generation chipset. If you were using a newer system with that newer card and the same issue was occurring, I would suspect the possible problem with the new card or with even the slot on the motherboard itself. But this is a compatibility issue that I've actually seen happen, not with these specific models, but with other models where the newer generation card wouldn't work on the older chipset due to that lack of compatibility. Originally, PCI Express was made to be a forward and backward compatible standard, sort of like USB connections on computers. However, with the resource requirements for the newer generation video cards, unfortunately, you'll probably need a newer tower to be able to run that. And I know we have some 4th generation i7s, like a Dell Optiplex 9020, which we have those starting around $320 at the Refresh Computer Store. And then we can potentially put that video card in it, copy the files over, and then get your back up and running. And we also do have at our store right now, we do have some actual workstation laptops that will be geared for these professional applications, including the Dell Precision, and we also got an HP 17 ZBook series as well. With a newer generation Intel processor and advanced accelerated graphics chipsets. So one of these laptops might potentially be up your alley as well. And these both, I believe, have 17-inch displays.
See, this is why I wouldn't answer the question, because I'd be like, go out there and look for a legacy, bio and the whole deal, the BIOS video card. But you say go ahead and move your way up instead, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is that the way technology progresses, a lot of times when the manufacturers make new ones, they stop making the old ones. So so it makes it more and more difficult to try to find hardware compatibility or hardware upgrades for older equipment. And of course, we always make sure that with our computers that we always prepare them to meet that modern standard right off the back. Where even our oldest machine is still going to be a nice iSeries processor. Everything we sell comes with at least 8 gigs of RAM. We load everything with the latest Windows 10 operating system. We put genuine licenses on all the computers. And not only that, Melissa, but we also back everything by our own in-house 90-day warranty standard, in which if you get a computer at a big box store, for 2 weeks past, something goes wrong, oh, it's not a problem. You have to ship it to
No, none
repair
of
people,
that.
blah, 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 and
None
then
of
be with that
that.
for weeks on end. But nope, we work on everything in-house. We also have 1, 2, or 3-year extension options available as well for our warranties. And yeah, and you don't have to wonder or question how long it's going to take to be remedied or where's the computer going to be. We do everything right here at our own Longwood Superstore.
I love it. This is from Ben. He said, I have a Lenovo Flex 14 and a Ryzen 5. I've had it for 6 months. Lately, I had to fully reboot the Windows 10 via the USB, including a full hard disk cleanup. Now, I had built-in Office 365 2020 when I got it, and now it's gone, and I can't seem to restore it and can only use the web version. Do you have any help?
Well, if you have a paid Office 365 subscription or you have a subscription from your employer or educational institution, when you log back into Office.com, you should be able to go to your subscriptions page and then re-download your Office 365 suite. So it sounds like what was done was that it sounds like he did a full reset on the machine, and then it also didn't save any of the data of the problem. So basically, he's starting back from scratch. But the good thing is that when you have Office, that Office product is going to be linked to a Microsoft account and should be able to re-download it. One thing I should mention, which is sadly affecting a lot of users and owners of legacy Office products, is that Microsoft actually discontinued the activation for Office 2007, 2010, and 2013. So for people that had purchased those products, and if they went to try to reinstall them, even though they work fine in Windows 10, it will fail activation and the product itself is unusable, which is really disgusting because, I mean, the thing is, it shouldn't matter even if support ends. I mean, the thing is, people paid for these products and then end up finding that they can't use what they paid for by some sort of arbitrary decision. And I mean, I really hope someone takes that on because, I mean, I always hate the idea of someone paying for something and then just having them taken away. I'm like, are they getting their money back?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
But Andre, if you've got something you bought in 2007 and it's 13 years later, don't you think you got your money's worth?
Right, but it's still, the thing is, you paid for it. It's a product that's still your product.
Sure.
I mean, like I said, I mean, I
see what
have a
you're saying.
2006 car. I mean, so let's say, I mean, the thing is that like, it's a little bit hard to find parts, but I'm going to keep driving the car. Like, Ford's not going to say is, well, you got all this life out of the car, so we're just going to take your car away.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm getting at?
I get it. So what's the special this week at Refresh Computers? I walk in off the street, never been there before. What are you going to sell me? I need a computer.
Well, of course, we always take our time to find you the best computer for your individual needs. So whether it's just something for basic emails and watching videos online, for example, like a more affordable, economical option, such as our 159 package, would probably be all right. If you're using it for more office stuff where you have lots of tabs open, or more intensive options, I might want to sell you something that's a little bit more higher end. But again, our Longwood Superstore of Refresh Computers is located at 820 East State Road 434 in Longwood, and we'll be back open tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for your shopping convenience. You can also visit our website at refreshcomputers.net to view more about products and services and potentially even buy your computer online. Or you can call the store tomorrow morning at 407-478-8200. Until then, we'll be back on the radio right here on WFLA every Sunday from 5 to 6. See you then.
Thanks, Andre. Appreciate that. Dude. All right, we're out of here, guys. Thank you so much for watching us.